Natural makeup specialist for women over 30, and today we are going to be talking about two different application methods when it comes to this all-in-one cream makeup line. So if you are new to my account, this is my all-in-one cream makeup palette. You can go to colormatch.pagesevere.com to get your own custom palette. And if you've seen this floating around the internet, you've probably seen a few different ways to apply it. And one of them is this dot method, and then you kind of blend everything together. And so I wanted to show you on one side the dot method versus applying with different brushes and kind of blending as you go. Now, as a little disclaimer, this dot method, this viral cream application method you've been seeing, is really just kind of like an eye catcher. It's to get you to stop the scroll, but it's also to show you the placement of colors and to show you how everything can be applied in one layer. And it's actually a technique that I tell people not to try until they're a little bit more experienced. They're a little bit more familiar with the makeup and how to apply it for their skin type. Because what I find happens is when people do this dot method first, they're like, wait, I don't know if I like this because they use too much product or it's not blending correctly, because really you want to make sure your skin is like well hydrated and well prepped to have like optimal blending experience. Okay, so I'll kind of talk about that as I go ahead and apply. So on this side, we're going to do the dot method. I am taking the smudge brush. Okay, and I'm just gonna take the more rounded side here. I'm gonna go into my contour shade. I am using collection 12, and this is level 2. So this set comes all together and it saves you $59. And it's such a great way to like try this product. They recently updated the colors that come in these collections, and I was lucky enough to be part of the committee that actually put all of these combinations together. So I am so confident in these new combinations for someone who wants to get a nice little set and save themselves some money. Okay, so you can see that we're just starting with contour, okay? So I'm just dotting this contour on. I'm gonna come underneath the jawline here. Remind me to blend this, because you guys, I will probably forget. I always forget to blend the jaw. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's just showing you, okay, this is where the contour placement goes. Then next up, we are going to use a color corrector. This is gonna be a darker highlight shade, and I'm just going to tap this on in areas that need a little bit more coverage. So where you have redness or sunspots or just need a little bit more love. Okay, so I kind of typically do it where I have some acne scarring that's been healing, a little bit over here, and just a tiny dab right in this inner corner of my eye. Okay, so that's our color corrector. At this point, people are always like, wait, do I need to wash off my brush in between colors? It's a cream, it's not like a liquid, so it pretty much just comes off. Like, it's not a big deal if you mix too. So this is my main highlight or foundation shade, okay? And so now I'm gonna put this in kind of those remaining spots. And then I like to do my lightest highlight shade on my jawline, because my jaw is typically a little bit more lighter than the center part of my face. I have less pigment there. That's what makes this palette so cool, is you truly get like a very customized application experience. Okay, and then we're just gonna add this brighter color right here to the inner and outer corners of the eyes. Okay, then we can go in with a blush shade. So I'm flipping back to the side I used for contour, and I like to do a matte blush right above the contour color, and then a more glossy shade on the cheeks. So I'm just gonna add that right there. Okay, so you can see everything is in one layer. Now let's talk about how to blend. There's lots of different brushes you can use to blend. There's no like one perfect brush to use. I find that I typically like to use the detail brush for blending or the buff brush. Either one work great. The buff is good for more of like that like tapping and stippling method, this will give you really nice coverage. Okay. And I always start with the lightest colors first, and then I do the contour and then the blush last. Okay, I'll show you with the detail. I like to use the detail because I can get like right up underneath my eyes. Again, if you're just hopping on, we are using the 3D foundation line from Seint, and I'm just showing you the different methods of application. And again, this dot and blend method is a more advanced technique. I feel like some people it might not be, but I just find that anytime I get someone who's a beginner with Seint, they have more problems with this method when they're first starting out, because it's like, wait, it's not blending. And I'm like, well, you gotta have a nice skincare prep. My skin is very hydrated right now. My creams are soft. And so it just makes blending 10 times easier. So if your skin is really dry, or you need to exfoliate, or it's textured, you might experience some issues with blending. And in the wintertime, the creams can get cold, and so they become a little bit more stiff. And so it's kind of nice now that we're going into summer, your cream should stay a little bit warmer. Okay, look at, see, I almost forgot the job. I wouldn't have seen those dots. So just kind of blend down. And then I will just take the same side. See, there really isn't like all this extra product left on my brush. It just blends really nicely into the skin. So at this point, I will just take this at the very end and blend my blush in. Okay. I will say too, like this looks great, but sometimes I feel like when I do the dot and blend method, I feel like I want to kind of go back and perfect some little things, like little spots or whatever. So again, this is just like a quick, gotta throw my makeup on, I'm in the car, just gonna throw it on and blend it all together. All right, so now let me show you how to apply. This is typically what I teach a beginner to do when they get their makeup. Sorry, you guys, I should have grabbed a hair clip because my hair keeps falling in my face. So I'm gonna take the detail brush. We're going to start, we're using the same color. We're gonna start with our contour. This contour serves as secondary coverage. So that's why you can kind of use it in place of a foundation. So I'm gonna start at the hairline, up on the forehead, and I just kind of blend as I go. The biggest mistake I see new cream users make is over application, using way too much product. So I always tell people, make sure you are tapping into your product using a very small amount, and then you can kind of build as you go. Like, see, I barely even touched that, and look how much product I got, which it's not a big deal. We can just kind of blend it out, but so we're doing contour, come underneath the jawline here, blend it down. And then I love this brush for the nose. I feel like it just makes nose contouring so easy. We're just gonna do a nice little straight line, like so, create a little V at the base, and then we're just gonna blend it inward. And we'll clean up any excess with our foundation. Looks a little funky because it's darker on one side. It's okay, we'll fix it. All right, so we've got our contour on, and now our next step is foundation. I'm going to take the buff brush. Again, this is gonna give you more medium full coverage. Actually, just kidding. I'm gonna take the small side of the detail brush because the next step is correcting. So I'll take a little bit of that color corrector and just kind of dab it on those areas where I need a little bit more coverage. Again, you really don't need much product. I feel like my creams are extra warm, maybe because I'm sweating. Oh, it was by my blow dryer. That's why I'm like, man, I am just getting a lot of product on. I normally don't get this much product on my brush, but okay. And then I'm gonna take my main foundation shade And I will just kind of tap and stipple this over my corrector, because oftentimes your corrector is going to be a little bit warmer, it's going to be a little bit darker. It's meant to be that way. That's how you're going to get the nice coverage that you want. We are going opposite from what we've learned about traditional concealing. If you conceal with a lighter color, all that's going to do is just enhance whatever issues you have going on. So you always want to conceal with something that's usually opposite in tone. So a lot of times we have excess blue, so we need something more orangey, or we have a little excess purple, so we need something a little bit more yellowy. Okay, so I'm just tapping my main foundation shade over that corrector. And then I will take this lighter, my lightest highlight shade on my jaw. Again, just kind of tapping, stippling. Sometimes if you are kind of in between, I'll just like tap between certain colors to get like a medium color, the in-between color. Again, it's my favorite part about this line is just all the customability that you can get. And then I'll take my lightest shade, going back to the detail, and I just pop this on the inner and outer corners of the eyes, like so. And then at this point, I will take, this is the blush and bronzer brush. So by the way, this collection 12 set comes with these two brushes, the detail brush and the blush and bronzer. So I just added in the buff brush. So I'm gonna take the small side of the blush and bronzer brush, I have to really think about that, and I'm gonna tap into that. This is Nude, just like a super pretty neutral matte shade. I like to apply it up here. And then we'll do Cindy, which is like a glossier pink. And I like to do that right on the apples of my cheeks, and then just kind of blend it out. Okay. One other thing I forgot to mention is I do like to recommend the Perfector sponge, which of course I forgot to grab it, for new cream users, because it will really help you pick up any excess product. Like I definitely got a little too much underneath my eyes here. So if you have that sponge, it will just help pick up that excess product so you don't have any creasing or anything like that. Okay, so we've got everything on. I'm gonna add a little bit of bronzer down my neck. Just want a little color there. Just using the big fluffy side of the blush and bronzer brush. This set also comes with a bronzer. People always ask, what's the difference between contour and bronzer? Do I need both? So your contour shade is typically cooler. It's mimicking a shadow. Your bronzer is typically warmer. It's mimicking, you know, that nice kind of golden glow that you get from the sun. And so I usually do bronzer. You can use bronzer as like a primer to even the skin tone with, to help create some nice even tone between the neck and the face, just bringing it down the neck like I'm doing here. And if you want more warmth in your makeup after, you know, doing your contour, whatever, you can just, I just like kind of apply it right here across the center part of my face. You can add it to the forehead, and this is just gonna like warm up your whole look. And then at this point, you can also apply your illuminator. So illuminator just adds like little extra dewy glow. It's not totally necessary, but I do love it. And so I will just add it right on the tip of my nose, and then in the center of the bridge, and come right up here on top of the cheekbones. So it just adds this beautiful kind of dewy glow. Add it right here on the Cupid's bow. Okay, I'm also gonna take the smudge brush. This is what I use to dot everything on this side. I mean, it's looking pretty good. Okay, just ignore my dry scalp. Okay, I'm gonna take the smudge brush and I'm gonna go into my contour shade. And I'm just gonna create a little shadow around my lips. So kind of like lip liner slash contouring the lips. And then I'm gonna use these colors. So this is Nude. A lot of times people will get a lip and cheek color and they're like, oh, this Illuminator was Angel, by the way. It comes in this level collection. What was I saying? Oh, people will get just like one lip and cheek color and they're like, I love it on my cheeks, but I don't love it on my lips. And that's why when I send out recommendations, I usually will recommend 2 to 3 colors because I want you to be able to have a matte and a gloss and also be able to create a nice like lip color that you really love. So I like to take this Nude, and then this is Black Cherry. This is, believe it or not, one of our best selling colors. It is the prettiest berry. And I just kind of add that in the center, and then a little Cindy over top of that. Such a pretty combo. Okay, and then this set also comes with eyeshadows, and I love them because they are the best neutral colors. And so I will just take the eyeshadow brush. So like I said, this set comes with these 2 brushes, the detail and the blush and bronzer. So then some great brushes to add would be like the buff and the eyeshadow brush. And then my favorite brush for under eyes is the spot brush, but we're not going that detailed today. Okay, so I just take basic and I'm just gonna do a quick, like neutral everyday eye. I'm not gonna do anything fancy. So you can just apply this kind of all over the eye, above the crease. I take the small side and just bring it along my lash line. Blend it out. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of Trust, which is that darker matte brown, just to the outer corner of the eye and here as well, and then blend. And we've got just like a really simple neutral eye for the day. But you can totally dress it up. This palette gives you options to pizzazz it up a little bit for nighttime, or if you're just feeling like, you know, I want to have a fancier eye today. Truly my favorite way to do liner is to just use eyeshadow and a little mascara. It does come with a cream liner though, so you can certainly get more of like that defined liner look if you want. Okay, one last thing I'm gonna do is my brows. We'll set everything in place with setting spray and then we'll be good to go. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of Cola contour. You guys have heard me say this a million times, but I really, really love the contours for brows because they're more of like that pomade look. Sometimes I feel like powder can look a little heavier, whereas this gives you like those little strokey looks. And then just blend out the excess. Okay, so that's the difference between the dot and blend versus kind of blending as you go. So you'll notice that when you use the brushes, you can get a little bit more specific, a little bit more detailed in your application. I feel like you have a little bit more control over how the product lays on your face. But if you just need something super fast or you've kind of got your routine down, that's when the dot and blend method becomes really fun and really easy. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm getting a Charlie horse. Pregnancy, 1 more week to go. Okay, anyway, so if you want to get color match, you can go to the link in my bio, my profile, go to colormatch.pagesphere.com, and I can build a totally customized routine for you and recommend brushes and all the things. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to message me on Instagram. Thanks for watching. I will save this too, so you can come back to it. But thank you again. We'll see you. Bye.